11, welcome to another series of iCamp videos. So here we have a problem, right? We are still on exponents and sets, which forms part of your term 1, right? So here you have a question where you need to prove that your left hand side is equals to your right hand side, right? Your left hand side is equals to your right hand side, right? So we are going to choose to work with the the left hand side, right? To try and prove this. And so we are going to say our left hand side, right, which is your b times square root of a minus b times your square root b times your square root of a plus b, right? So what I'm going to try and do, right, I'm going to try to write this as 1, right? So remember from your exponent laws, right, if you have x times x, right, it's the same thing as, can literally write it as the same thing as x times x, right, which is the same thing as you add exponents, it's going to be x1 plus 1, right, which is also equals to your square root of x squared, and then this can also be written as x1 over 2 x squared, which is 1 over 2, right? So we are going to try and do it like that, right? We are going to try and apply that into our expression, right? So let's go on and try to do that, right? So we are going to put this in 1 square root. So you are going to have 1 square root where you have, now it's going to be brackets, so it's going to be your b square root of a minus b, and then b square root of a plus b, right? And then we are going to try and multiply the brackets out, right? So this is going to multiply that, and it's also going to multiply that, and then this is going to multiply that, and it's also going to multiply that, right? So let's go ahead and do that. So you still have your square root, so your square root of your b times, so this is not supposed to be 2, it's supposed to be a, right? So we are going to say b times a times b times, okay, a, right? Okay, so we are going to write a long thing, right? So it's going to be open bracket, so your b times b, it's going to be your b squared, right? It's going to be your b squared, and then your square root of a times your square root of a, it's going to be a, right? And then you are going to have b times b, right, which is going to be your plus b squared times the square root of a, right, minus, right, your b times b, it's going to be b squared times the square root of a, right? It looks like we still have to extend this, and then we are going to have minus, right, minus b times b, it's going to be b squared, right? Already I can see that these two things are like terms, right? So they can cancel out, right? Because it's your b squared minus, it's your b squared square root of a minus b squared square root of a, and then now I'm going to be left with into your brackets, which is a b squared minus b squared, right? So remember what we wanted to prove, right? So this is a long line, it's not necessary, right? Remember what we wanted to prove. We wanted to prove that it can be written in that way, right? So what we are going to try and do is we are going to try and take out b as your common factor, your b squared as your common factor, right? So we are going to have now, we are going to have a b squared, right? Because we need b out, right? As you can see here, we're going to have b squared, open brackets, and then it's going to be a minus 1, right? Let's see how far we are from proving this. Not too far, right? And then we can distribute the square root, right? So this, okay, let's write it on a new page. Can literally take this and we write it here, right? So when we take out, can just distribute the square root, which is b squared times your a minus 1, right? So this is the same thing as b squared all over 1 over 2 times your a minus 1, and then here your 2 and 2 will cancel out, and then you will have your b times your a minus 1, right, which is going to be your answer, right? And therefore you can conclude that your left hand side is equals to your right hand side, right? So it was a fairly simple question. So let's look at another question.